part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey.
What's up?
This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network. And guess what?
What?
We're running it back, baby. We just renewed for another season of the Ball Card Show. 12 months of ear candy for your ear holes.
How about that? I don't like how you phrased that or the look on your face you said it.
It's the eye contact combined with the word ear holes.
And the like
the baritone
creepy grin. You had a little like John Wayne Gacy grin there as you said that.
You know what? You've got some really good lobes for squeezing.
Funny story, my son, who is now almost 23 years old, from the time he was like old enough to know what an ear was, would like flick my earlobes.
Oh my God. It's like you have a weenus on your ear.
It brings him joy to like flick my earlobes.
Wait, your entire lobe is like detached.
Yes.
Entire lobe.
Yeah.
If you never seen that before? A Barry Bonds earring, it would hang to your nipple.
Yeah. For sure. 100%.
How have I never seen your ears?
And my kid, who's almost 23, still gets immense joy from just walking up behind me and for like 20 seconds just like flicking my earlobe with his finger.
A good little squeeze is where it's at.
He's a fan of that move.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. So anyway, that's your ears. Also, sorry, this episode is brought to you by Miller Lite because that is what was in the beer fridge. Miller Lite, you're more than welcome to sponsor us.
Yeah, no Bud Light.
I did have some Bud Light in there, but I'm not going to lie. I don't like sharing that as
much. That's my beer.
Yeah, that's mine. Anyway, I'm pissed off.
Well, yeah, you had a little bit of a fun Facebook experience the last 4 days.
Let me break this down for you. So I did a card show last week. Did okay. Wasn't as good as I was hoping for, but it was fine. You know, good little base hit. Then I hop on one of these Facebook groups. It's one of the larger ones. It's got like 70,000 members in it. So there's a lot of traction. And I put up a low-end sale and put some prices, mark stuff in. But the majority of the cards are 50 cents, $1, $2. And
it was a lot. That was like almost 800 posts in the thread. Yeah.
A sizable sale.
9 cards per post. It was a lot.
And what happens when you do these claim sales, you know, like I did a 1 through 9 format. So I'll put 9 cards in, almost like they're in a binder, but just on top of the table. You claim cards 1 through 9 in order that you would read them. And then whoever claims numbers first gets the cards. The best thing that can happen when you're doing these is you get about 20 posts in and you start to see notifications hitting, which means there's 2 or 3 people that are really interested in your sale and they're competing to claim cards first.
Right.
And when that starts happening, people are making impulsive decisions and you're moving a lot of cards.
Right.
So I post this. It takes a few hours to get through everything. I don't know how many. I mean, probably well over 1,000 cards.
Well,
at that
and
point.
I think from the time you started posting cards until you finished, it was probably 5.5, 6 hours. It was a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot of time. And like I moved and again, mostly 50 cent, $1. I was like at $560 at the end of that sale with only a couple prices, marked cards moving, which for me that's a pretty solid sale.
Yeah, absolutely.
After you do that, you have the work of going through every single picture you posted, seeing who had what, sorting out the cards, sending people their totals, collecting payment, shipping it out, giving tracking. And then for most people now, they do goods and services on PayPal. So you get this money, but you really don't have it for a couple weeks if you're in my shoes. Cause
need to go get you a business account, bro.
I guess. So anyway, I have a really good sale with that. This guy starts messaging me that claimed 163 cards. A good chunk of cards there.
Yeah.
They said, mostly low-end stuff, but he picked a lot of the good stuff out.
Yeah, I missed a lot of stuff because he was grabbing it all.
Yeah, so the first thing is like, dude, I'm in Mexico. Someone needs you to ship it down here. And I don't know how well you know Mexico, but if you picture where the ass end of Mexico is, that's how far away it was. So now we're talking about a lot of shipping, which, typically in the post is $5. You don't have a lot of international. I should have said something about that, but whatever. So we come to a total. He's like, yeah, okay, $200 shipped. I'll get it to you. Immediately after that, 5 minutes, I'm going to need a little more time for the money. So the way these sales are supposed to work, they claim the cards, they pay for the cards, 24 to 48 hours is expected. And then once I receive payment, within 24 to 48 hours, should have tracking for everybody.
Yeah.
So this guy asked for more time immediately, and we already have to figure out shipping this to Mexico. I don't feel like it's even going to get there. Then he starts saying, oh, I meant to claim this card in this photo that somebody else claimed, but I claimed first even though it was the wrong number. Bro, it doesn't work like that. So he's like, oh, it's fine. We're going to have many good business dealings. I start to feel like he's a Nigerian prince offering me money, right? If I sneeze, it's because I have to.
Oh, the look. Oh, that was legit. Okay.
So fast forward, I say, all right, I'm going to be gracious to this guy. He did buy a lot of cards. I'm really annoyed, but what am I going to do? Repost them right now? So I say, you have till Wednesday. So we get through Wednesday.
And he says, okay.
He says, okay, Wednesday. You got it. He says, can I change the deal? No, you can't change the deal. You claim what you claim, whatever. Wednesday, no payment. So I do what you're supposed to do. The next day, Thursday morning, which is today, I hop on. Hey, a couple of guys didn't claim. We're talking over 200 cards here that weren't claimed. That kind of really sucks with all the time that I put into it. Here's the names of these guys for all of you that sell so that you can avoid these buyers. That's it. I didn't put them on a scammers page. I just said,
should've.
Here's these two guys. They didn't do it, blah, blah. Well, immediately, hey, man, how could you do that to me? I didn't need to do anything bad. Oh, I'm going to need you all to hold that thought. My daughter's walking down here with pizza. We'll be right back. And just like that, I've gained 2 pounds.
Jets Pizza, baby.
Yeah,
every
so
piece
good.
has edge crust. It's awesome.
Yeah, every piece has an edge, corner, crispy, turbo, cheesy crust. And it's really good for you, too. That's the best part. So this guy, he asked for more time. I give him till Wednesday. I posted in the group. Now I'm the bad guy. Here's where I'm pissed off. Family members and people that went to Bible college with me, you might not like these next few minutes. I know you just turned up the volume like you do when movies have bad language.
Get it.
Someone called me a Karen in there for complaining about him. And here's my thought. You actually jumped in on Facebook and fought with me as tag team. What was that? What was the old time, big time wrestling? The guys that walked around and did the bushwhackers.
Oh yeah.
You came in. We were like the bushwhackers walking around the ring, and you were like, "How about you? How about you try that shit in Walmart? Just go in, grab some toys. We're not talking food and toilet paper, and just walk out and tell them, hey man, I thought I had the money, but I don't. But I really want these Legos,
And I'll pay you when I can.
I'll pay you when I can. What's the big deal? Why is everybody not understanding my financial situation?"
Yeah.
So to this guy that called me a Karen, I said, cool, tag me in your next sale. I'm going to claim 163 cards and not pay. Is that cool?
And no response.
No
Crickets.
response. So if you're out there and you're claiming cards in a sale, here's why. I'm going to tell you why. Because I know why. Because I've been tempted to do it. And you know what? I have done it. And I had the money, but it was in what was called a joint account. Okay? There's a piece of even these claim sales that releases the same endorphins that gambling does. 100%. Because there's a chance on every post, if you follow it second by second, that there's going to be a card that's worth way more than they're asking, especially when somebody's moving a collection.
Oh, yeah.
So you get the same energy that you get when you're in a casino.
I bought, there was a claim sale a guy ran. It was 50-cent claim sale probably 6 months ago. And I got like 5 Topps Chrome Nolan Arenado rookies for 50 cents a piece.
So when that happens and you jump in these sales, you're feeling that. So you're like, if I don't claim this, I'm going to regret it. If I don't claim that, I'm going to regret it. You don't know that I have 700 more pictures to post, right? So I think that's what's happening with people is they love that instant gratification of buying it and winning something. But then they're 30 minutes later in the sale and they're like, oh no, I'm at least $100. Oh no, 150. Oh no, I'm $400 in.
Yeah.
And then they start looking around like, oh, I don't have that kind of money. Because it's so easy to claim it without paying for it. Pay for your shit.
Well, it's be a grown up. Like
for your things.
It's that simple. Be a grown up and be that. That's all. I don't know how else to phrase it. And anytime I see somebody make a post like you had to make, I immediately block the people that the original poster is complaining about, and anyone in the thread who defends the idiots, I block them too, because they're going to do the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you guys follow us on socials,
I'm done
Either
swearing
the-
for the rest of the episode.
I'm not, because now I'm gonna lean in.
You gonna drop some S bombs? I dropped 2 S bombs.
I don't know what I'm gonna drop.
The crap bomb.
I don't really think about what's gonna come out of my mouth
That's
before
what
it
I'm
comes
scared
out.
of.
It
This
just
is-
happens.
This isn't a dare.
Oh no, I know, and I'm not taking it that way. I'm just gonna,
Oh. Phonetically, you scared me there for a minute.
no,
My eyes just popped out of
they
my head.
did.
Didn't
You
they?
thought it was coming right there.
Like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the truck driver.
Oh, yeah.
And when
Ring.
they pulled the driver from the twisted burning wreck, it looked just like this.
that was real creepy. Anyhow, if you follow us on socials, either the podcast socials or Jason or I individually on socials, you may have noticed me being much, much, much more acerbic.
Hold on.
What?
Much more Serbic?
Yeah,
Serbia?
acerbic.
No. Nobody uses that word.
I just used that word.
Nah.
Are you unfamiliar with what it means? You have a master's degree.
I know. But do the people out there use the word acerbic?
They may not use the word, but I'm assuming from they can pick it up from context clues.
Why don't you break that down into dollar box terms for us here?
You may have noticed me being much more aggressively crotchety.
How does that happen when you're already a 12 out of 10?
I get to about 18 out of 10.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So I'm very conflicted because I really enjoy the fact that a lot more people are getting involved in the hobby. What I don't enjoy and what pisses me off is when people don't know anything about what they're doing in the hobby. They go clear off shelves and then they brag about it on social media and ask what they should be looking for and whether they should have bought all the rest of it. Listen, go buy a damn lotto ticket. Get out of our hobby. Just go buy a lotto ticket. I'm over it. I'm over the idiots who do stuff like that and then have the temerity to be butthurt when they get called out about it.
This just in. My thread calling out these guys for not paying has been taken down from this page.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I just found it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I went to click on it and it's gone.
Huh. Go to the page and do a search for your name and see what happens.
Wow. Unreal. Unreal. All right, sorry.
That's why you posted to the scammer page. Anyhow, if you want to get into the sports card hobby, that's awesome. If you're trying to get into the sports card hobby because you think it's a lotto ticket and you're going to go buy a bunch of blasters at Walmart and suddenly be rich next week, get out.
Yep.
Get out. We don't want you here.
And there's still a lot of listeners that think it's a scratch-off ticket with better odds.
It's worse odds. It's way worse odds. If you're buying, for example, this week, Select Football came out. Okay? Retail and hobby. If you're buying Select Football blasters at $35 a crack at Walmart, you have a much better chance to get your money back or more going and buying $35 $1 scratch-off tickets.
Yep.
The rookie class is trash, but in the last month, I've seen more and more and more of this. And I'm going to call out one of our fellow podcasting folks in this space because they've got a huge following and a huge Facebook group, and they approve this bullshit on the regular.
Yep.
So I know that, Mike, you're my friend, and I know you're not listening to this podcast because you don't really care about our podcast. You care about yours. Same. I get it.
He's crying himself to sleep on a case of exquisite.
Yeah, and I've known Mike for a few years, like not like in person, but over Facebook we talk. The good guy. But control your group, bro. Don't approve every single post that somebody puts up in your group, especially when every 50 posts, 45 of them are the same damn post.
Which is?
What's this worth? Did I buy the right thing? Here's my fishing expedition because I know I'm not allowed to sell on this page, but I'll pretend I can't find comps so I can post it here and people can then make me offers. Mm-hmm. Stop it.
Yep.
Stop.
Yep.
Okay, I'm done now.
Here's what's frustrating to me. It feels like it's getting harder and harder to move products at good prices.
See, I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I think that it's harder and harder to move certain products at prices.
I'm having a hard time moving singles, even though interest in singles is going up.
I sell a ton of singles. It all depends on what. So, for example, I did a show last weekend. Went down to Ashland, Kentucky. It's a new show. They're doing a nice job with it for being a new show. They're not promoting it super well, I don't think. It wasn't super heavily attended, but I'd never been there before. And the guys who are running the show, nice guys, didn't tell me what to expect. I would say 85% of people at the show were looking for football. The other 15% were looking for Ellie De La Cruz.
Yep.
And that's really it. Well, I don't do a lot of football. Mm-hmm. I do some, but I'm mostly baseball.
You're heavy into baseball.
I am heavy baseball. And all my Ellie stuff sold in the first 20 minutes of the show. Mm-hmm. And for the next 6.5 hours, I didn't do a whole lot of business.
Right.
So part of it is knowing what your customers in any given spot are looking for. One of the things that is on my list to do throughout this summer is I want to start venturing out as a buyer out of state to some shows. Mm-hmm. Buffalo's a 4.5 hour drive. I'd like to go up to Buffalo as a buyer because I guarantee you I will be able to buy Red stuff and Bengals stuff way cheaper up there than I can buy it here.
Yep.
And that'll let me increase my margins coming back now.
Minus the fuel and buffalo wings.
Unlike,
hey guys, see what I did there?
I mean,
because Buffalo, New York is the home of flying buffaloes.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
That's what you call a good joke.
I didn't even know it was a joke.
Buffalo, Reds, Bengals.
But in general, that's one of my goals is to get out of Ohio more as a buyer to try to find product because those people are going to be selling Yankees, Mets, Bills, and hockey.
Now,
and that's what's going to sell high there. So it's knowing when I go to Southway, I have regulars that are baseball buyers, and they all come to my table because I have more baseball than anybody there at good prices.
Yeah. Speaking of buying,
yeah,
you and I have a very interesting adventure that I hope pans out. We have this really large collection.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the city, somebody has 70 through like 89 baseball sets. Lots of 70s.
You said there was even some 60s stuff.
60s stuff. 70s O-Pee-Chee. He has some Gowdy, like some old Red stuff, but he's attached to that. But we're talking football and baseball from that era. Full sets, O-Pee-Chee sets, Tiffany sets. So it ain't going to be cheap, but if we can play ball, we'll be in a really good spot. So we'll keep you updated on that. But
for sure. But yeah.
You had like 3 or 4 sets of 78, and 3 of them were O-Pee-Chee.
Oh.
So
yeah, that's a win if we can make it happen. But no, I think that like in general, the hobby is starting to transition back more to singles because wax prices are still insane. And as we see the overall economy, this is in the weeds more than it is sports card related, but overview, I don't think we're going to have the recession that people were predicting 6 months ago, but I do think people's general disposable income isn't going to be going towards sports cards unless they're in the upper middle class or higher, right?
Yeah. And you don't have to spend money on cards if you only claim them.
Right, exactly.
You get that.
You get the head rush.
It's like playing slots on your phone for no money.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I'm not going to lie, every once in a while, I'll find myself 2 hours into that.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I play real slots on my phone with Russian sites that could likely have all of my information by now.
100%. Well, that's like your wife playing that real money solitaire.
Let's not talk about her addiction. My wife plays solitaire for money on her phone. The other day, I was like, how's it been going with that? And she just shook her head. And I said, we could pull up your history of transaction and see how far up or down you are. She said, no.
She just shook her head again?
You want me to show you where it's at? No, I don't want to know. The sites I use will be like, some like .au or .ag. And then it's like, You deposited $25 at MrSmithsFund.com. Every now and then Leslie's like, what's this? And I'll be like, you know what that
You
is.
just shake my head.
Like, you were playing penny slots on your phone.
So, I mean, those are our hobby rants right now. Some interesting hobby news.
Oh, before you do.
Yeah.
The one area I agree with you on with the singles that I'm experiencing is the low end stuff is still moving great.
Yeah.
$2 stuff for $1, $1 stuff for 50 cents, $3 to $4 stuff for $2. That's bread and butter. If you can get enough inventory at a discounted rate, look for people to say, hey, I'm looking for X. You do a great job with this. You'll even say, hey, here's what I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
If it's worth this, I'll pay this, but I prefer to buy 100 or more.
Yeah.
And then some people will do that. There's guys that only want to move higher end stuff that have a, monster box of that stuff just sitting around. So,
yeah. Well, and that's the key. Like, know what your market is. There's a kid, he's in Cedarville. His name's Caleb. I think he listens to the podcast. So Caleb, if you're listening, shout out. Caleb is another Bowman guy. He's younger. He plays college baseball there at Cedarville. And he does a really good job with Bowman, but he focuses on stuff that's $80 to $100 up. And does a really good job of buying it right, selling it at the right time because he knows baseball. He has no interest in the low end stuff at all.
Right.
But you and I have this conversation at shows all the time. I tell my customers, I will sell 100 $1 cards for every $50 single I sell. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the key is buying it right and being honest with people about what you're going to do. Yes, you're going to get clowns that'll, get mad at you for doing that or whatever. Who cares? Just turn off your comments. But just tell people, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's really hard to sell a $1 card for $1. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to sell a $2 card for $2. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to sell a $2 card for $1.
Especially modern.
Yes, but you have to be setting up at shows to do it. And the vast majority of people in this hobby don't set up at shows.
And it takes work.
Yes, you do. You have to put effort into it. My wife laughs at me. She tells me that between shows and what I do in the evenings, I spend just as much time doing this as I do my real job. Yeah. And she's probably right. But I enjoy this.
You're just waiting for her to tell you don't need to do the other job.
If there was a feasible, this leads into our next thing. If there's a feasible way to actually set up a shop, mm-hmm. I would.
All right, I'll let you get into the next little segment here because I want another bite of pizza.
Okay, so this was the big hobby news that came out this week, and there are very conflicting opinions about it. Fanatics, Topps, but Fanatics released their new guidelines if you want to be direct with them. Now, here's the good news. They're going to let just about anybody who has a brick and mortar shop be direct. However, you have to follow their code of conduct and their licensing agreement. This is awesome, in my opinion. There's a lot of people who don't think it is, but I think it's amazing. Fanatics is treating the Topps brand the way that every other high-profile, high-value brand treats their brand. If you want to buy a Ford, a new one, you have to go to a Ford dealer. And that Ford dealer has a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? A certain level of things that they have to do in order to maintain being a Ford dealer. Yeah, their dealership has to be a certain number of square feet at a minimum. It has to
follow X processes.
Exactly. You have to share your data with. Yeah, you have to share your data with Ford. You have to share your sales volume with Ford. Your new versus used. So Topps is doing the exact same thing. Maybe not quite to that extent, but things like your shop has to be kept clean. Topps tells you that at least twice a year you have to send them photos of your shop, and anytime they request it, you have to. They want all your social media handles. They want all your website information. They want to know how you're going to portray Topps. They want dedicated space in the shop for Topps products and displays for Topps products. You can no longer sell to other businesses. So if you're a direct Topps dealer, you can't sell your overflow inventory to other shops that don't have a direct allocation. You can't do online breaks. You can only do breaks in the store. You can't sell their products on your website.
Hold on. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Mental note. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you can't sell their products on your website. You can't sell breaks. You can't. There's a whole list of things that you're not able to do. You can't sell business to business, so you can't do any of that unless
Can you
have
break
prior-
live from inside the shop?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's actually how breaking started.
Well, I'm thinking of who's the dude in PA that remember his famous one?
Yeah,
of,
Cards Infinity.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he had the Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, but he also sold spots in those breaks online. You can't do that anymore. If you want, that's my point.
You have to come in the shop.
Yes, you cannot sell break spots online.
Are they trying to kill the secondary market?
They're launching their own break platform.
Okay.
And they're allowing people who are breakers to apply to be breakers on their platform, and they'll get different types of allocations.
So now a regulated whatnot per distributor, per manufacturer is where this is heading.
Correct.
You thought you were paying fees before.
See, I don't think that's going to be what happens. I think what Topps is trying to do, what Fanatics is trying to do, is create a brand experience that is consistent across all platforms.
They don't want somebody repping their name that's not sending the card.
If I go into a McDonald's in Columbus, Ohio, and I go into a McDonald's in Phoenix, Arizona, theoretically, my hamburger should be the same.
Yep.
And that's what they're trying to accomplish. So they're trying to, and listen, if you've been in this hobby for any period of time, you have been to shops that you walk in and you go, oh, what is this? Like, there's not going to be flea market shops that have direct allocations.
All right, let me jump in here.
Yeah.
I love a divey card shop. I like smelling the moldy cardboard. I
See,
like a grimy
the smell of the
shop
cardboard is
owner.
fine. The smell of the shop owner, I'm not interested in.
That's fair because the dude at the last card show.
Listen,
Sitting
card
next
shows.
to me.
Listen, card shows in general, bro. You better just rub some like menthol or something on your upper lip because it's.
I'm going to take a risk here because I doubt he listens because I doubt he can read or spell. But bro was rocking the worst armpit odor.
Yeah.
But it was framed in beautifully with skin tags all around. Super low cut tank.
If you walk around enough shows, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Hey, he
like,
didn't care. He moved $7,000 and like it was nothing. He was yeah. So anyway, but he is based off the displays. He is deeply in debt from breaks.
Probably.
He had like $8,000 worth of this year's illusions out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Hey, Sydney has brought me another beverage. Everyone give Sydney a round of applause.
I'm just trying to figure out how I'm the redheaded stepchild over here.
Will you get Gary a Bud Light, the blue one?
Thank you.
Would you like to be on the podcast?
Come say hi, Sydney.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. If you had to buy a card of any athlete in the world,
LeBron James.
you can leave now.
I'm not going to
Just
tell.
kidding,
I'm
babe.
not going to tell your mom you said that.
But seriously, Gary would love a Bud Light. There's one in the door. It's a blue one. All right. That was Sydney. LeBron James.
So back to Topps and brand integrity.
So, yes, are they overreaching to tell people? So now hear me out on this. Hold on,
Okay.
hold on.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What if Buffalo Trace,
Yeah.
who has a wide family of bourbons, all kinds of stuff, or the family that owns Jack Daniels and all that. I can't remember how it's all broken down, but a large family of beverages said, from now on, for you to serve our liquor, your bar has to look like this.
Yeah.
Why isn't that happening now?
Because when it comes to liquor, it doesn't really matter.
I disagree.
Okay, and that's fine.
Because people that don't collect would say, when it comes to cards, why does that matter? I think it's this. Here's my hunch. People are going to clean off the shelves, spruce up the place, spray a little Febreze, send some photos to Topps, and it's going to go right back to where it was.
Yep. And then when Topps 3 months later sends them a message, it says in the next 5 minutes we need a picture of your shop date stamped right now. They'll lose their allocations.
Yeah.
So that's
the
that's
sand
the
that you're
trade-off.
feeling.
Yeah.
coming from the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan near.
Okay,
Gary,
that's what I was wondering.
Indiana.
I was like, what is this grittiness on the bottom of this can?
Yeah, it's probably still good.
It's okay. No, so to me, I don't think it's an overreach. It's just like anything else in life. What Topps is saying is we're going to protect our brand because that's what we invested money in. Fanatics is saying we spent a lot of money for this brand, and we're going to protect the brand. If you don't want to be a part of protecting the brand, cool. Good luck with your shop that doesn't have wax in it.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's forcing anybody.
Sure. No, I think it's a good point. I do agree about making something uniform. The part that I love is that they're trying to eliminate just the dirty side of the business, which is some of this online breaking. There's no checks and balances. There's no accountability. There's no reasonable price point because you don't know if this is a second, third, or fourth time somebody's had to purchase this from a distributor.
Well, what's
the
really
breakers are lying about what it cost them.
Well, that's where it's hard. Like, I feel like I've got a little bit of an advantage over a lot of people because I know
because you're so acerbic.
Yeah, because I know what most of this stuff costs, even on the secondary market. Like, I'm probably deeper on this stuff than...
Yeah, you're smart. Get to the point.
No, not smart. Just I spend a lot more time on it than most people do. So when I see a break that's super overpriced, I just don't get in it. There are rooms that have done a really good job of building a community, and then eventually they start taking advantage of that community. There's a room that I used to do some Bowman breaks in, and the guys who run it are nice guys. I like them. But they're breaking, like last week... They did a break, and it was like 2 2023 hobbies and a jumbo, which total cost was probably about $1,100. Mm-hmm. It was breaking at $1,850.
Yikes!
That's I'll never give those people money. If that's where they're going to price it at. Yeah. They used to run that same type of break at $1,380. Mm-hmm. I got no problem with people making money. Like, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But that break takes. And this is a room that doesn't ship paper. They only ship chrome and hits. Mm-hmm. So only 30 spots are only really shipping to 20 people.
Right.
You want to make $150 for an hour and a half of your time? Cool. I got no problem with that at all. You want to make $800? I'm going to be not in on that.
It's going to have to be some juicy products to get there.
Yeah.
So I think it has less to do with what they purchase it for and more to do with what's likely to be it. So, like on mixers, a mixer means that you have several different products in a break. This is super common on Whatnot and all these where people are charging $300, $400, $500.
Sometimes they're different years.
Right, right. So, and the other thing that it does when people do a mixer is it tries to make more teams worth chasing rather than running everything from the same product.
This is so much better than Miller Lite.
Yeah, I don't discriminate.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So... in those areas where you have a case of this, a case of that, a box of this, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Yeah, a little more margin on that because you're moving way more product. It's like, I don't know, people that have a commission job and they're moving really expensive things tend to have a higher commission, tend to have a little more money.
And I think there's also, there's a little bit of just discernment you have to have when you're looking at this stuff anyways. If I'm looking at a break of a product from 2018, I don't mind paying a little bit more for that because it's not as easy for the breaker to replace. If a breaker's running, I'll use Bowman as an example because I always do, but I walked in today to podcast, you're like, hey, Leslie picked me up a mega of Bowman. You're showing me what you hit out of it. Yeah. Cool. Guys that are running retail Bowman breaks right now, especially not by the case, if you're paying as a person jumping into these breaks much more than a 10 or 15% premium, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because the stuff is sitting on shelves. Yeah. Any Target you go into right now, you're going to see 10 to 15 Bowman megas.
Well, yes,
at any given time.
If you are chasing a team and they have a case of it, that's a different story.
Well, that's why I just said a case.
Yeah. So,
but if you're doing it that way, understand like the teams that you're going to chase. The Diamondbacks are perfect. Well, the Diamondbacks and the Rays right now are probably the two teams that people go after the hardest in the new Bowman. If I'm in a case of blasters, let's say, and it's a PYT, the Diamondbacks are going to cost me 40% of the cost of the case.
Yeah. Just buy half.
Just go buy half a case.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And then you'll get everything else too.
All right, let's go back a little bit to tops because there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
braking has to be, spots are purchased in the store.
What
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now, that's the plan. If I want to break a case of Series 2, which not hearing a lot of people do,
no.
but I would have to go into the brick and mortar and sign up for a break, is what Tops is saying.
Correct.
Then it will be broken in the shop live only or online also?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Because
I'm why wouldn't they be able to do that through the website? That's what I don't understand.
You might be able to stream the break, but you cannot sell the spots online.
What kind of an economic impact will that have on Tops? I think it will.
I don't think it will. Here's the reality. Tops has made the decision, and we've talked about this before, and it's just becoming more and more clear. Tops has made the decision that their focus is the end user, not the middlemen.
Right.
They cut GTS a year ago. The
Right.
largest distributor in the hobby said, you no longer get our products.
Right.
Go fly a kite. Now they are cutting online breakers. Nobody will ever convince me that they weren't part of convincing eBay to stop selling group breaks unless you're an approved breaker on eBay. As of like last week, you can't buy group break spots on eBay outside of like 4 or 5 people that are approved. So I think that their goal is to put the hobby back in the hands of the end users and cut as much of the middleman out as they can. Now, does that mean they're going to take some of the profit that the middlemen were getting? Absolutely, it does. Does it mean at the end of the day, once the dust settles, we're as collectors all going to be way ahead from where we were over the last 4 years? Absolutely, it is.
It'll be interesting to see how it affects the brick and mortars. I do like that it's going to be painful for the people that have been taking advantage of people. That part I really enjoy.
Yes, very much so.
And I like that it was weird. I honestly feel like as I was getting back into the hobby, Tops was treated as like, I'm not allowed to say, but that stepchild. But it was just like, hey, it's Tops, because everybody was chasing ultra modern, chasing Luka, Zion, Ja, all that stuff.
Well, it was baseball.
Yeah, and it was baseball. But I would say, now part of it is I'm more into baseball than I was even 2 years ago. I think the hobby's more into baseball now.
Well, people have started to figure out,
because they lost their ass on modern basketball and football
Yes.
at the prices that they're being asked.
yes. Well, and I think people have also started to figure out that basketball, you have some opportunity for guys to spike, but you better be ready to move them fast because they'll drop just as fast. Baseball and in the NFL, guys don't 10x. But in baseball, we'll use Ellie as a perfect example. So Ellie's stuff was hot in general for 2 years, right? But when he got called up, his stuff spiked about 3x overnight. Then he hit for the cycle, and his base chromes were selling for $80 on eBay. 3-4 weeks before that, you could buy them for 8 to 10. Because he doesn't have any rookie cards yet.
Yeah.
And he won't till next year.
Yeah.
So his Bowman first,
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
So even the non-licensed LE stuff has gone through the roof. It's going to happen with Jordan Westberg now that he's gotten called up. When Encarnacion Strand gets called up, it's going to happen. Speaking of which, side note, I was right, Joey Votto. It was great to see you come back and try. You're hitting 205.
I'm not allowing that negativity.
He's
in my
hitting
house.
205.
I'm not allowing that negativity. You are the king of. Oh, give it a week or two. Give it a little bit of time.
This is the culmination of 3 straight years of just a
Stop.
downward trend.
Stop.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We were okay. One. We're not coming off the easiest couple of series.
Okay.
2, bro came out of the gates and blew your mind.
Yes, he did. And that was awesome. I say this to everybody. I preface it always. I love Joey Votto. One of my favorite Reds ever. I love the guy. He's a logjam right now.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say this. Final game of the Braves series. There was a really crucial ground ball. And you had to have a good jump on it. And Joey's got the glove for it. But his reaction time was not
his
there.
legs are gone.
And that, it wasn't like the game winning, but it was the one that kind of sealed the deal, put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd have made a double play out of it, but he could have stopped it and stopped a run. But he still has the capacity, in my opinion, he still has the capacity to be a 300 hitter. I haven't seen that he's not yet. A month from now, I feel like you have enough. Baseball, you can't. Basketball and even football less, but especially basketball, it's so volatile the way that people are looking at players. They did this, they did that. I like a bigger sample for baseball, especially coming off an injury. But what concerns me that I would agree with you with is the reaction time. That's something that will even affect him at the plate. It's
he's
not
old.
Just a fielding thing. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
He's old. Anyway.
And back to the Reds, I've not been this excited for
it's fun, man.
This team, this lineup.
Our pitching is going to sink us, but it's fun.
Yeah, and our lineup is ridiculous right now.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Oh yeah, back to forget Joey Votto. We'll get on that train at a different time. But wrapping up what we were talking about with Topps, Fanatics has decided they're going to treat the brand like the investment that it was for them.
Yeah,
and if you're a hobby shop owner, you're either going to get on board or you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. You can bitch and moan and complain. You can be an old head. You can do whatever you want to do, but you're going to get left behind if you don't jump on board with what Topps is doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, I'd agree. We have a listener question. Beep, 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 beep. Just a reminder, if you follow us on socials and you write us a message, we do not have as many people in our group as Mike does.
No, that's true.
And we would be happy to answer.
We will respond to you.
Yeah.
So we've got a listener, Clay. We appreciate you, man. And he's asked a few different questions, but he asked a question this week, and I see it more and more often from people anymore who are just getting back in the hobby, and they haven't been part of the hobby in the last 10 to 12 years since the internet and eBay has kind of taken over. And the question that we got was, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the use of apps for cataloging and price checking on cards, and also how you feel about the Beckett book. So let's discuss.
Can I start with the Beckett book?
Yeah, let's start with the Beckett book, and I'm going to say this just as
before you say something intelligent, can I say something stupid?
Sure.
Tell me you just got back into the hobby without telling me you just got back into
we
the
asked
hobby.
about Beckett. Yeah. So here's the deal with.
I'm guilty of that too, by the way. That was me at first.
Oh, for sure. Anybody who jumped back in is, because it's overwhelming. If you collected in the late 80s and early 90s, you had Fleer, Donruss, and Topps. And that was it. And then you got Score a little bit, and it was one set. There weren't 50 different products from every manufacturer. And it was pretty straightforward. If you needed to know how much something was worth, you opened up your Beckett.
How's my 85 set doing this month?
And you saw whether it was going up or down, and you saw a high price and a low price, which was basically retail wholesale, and you went on with your day. So that's a very reasonable question. And when you ask that question in general, especially on the internet, you're going to get a lot of people who just are really rude or sarcastic in response. And I'm guilty of that. And the reason that happens is because we get the question all the time, and it just gets old. Mm-hmm. Nobody uses Beckett to price their cards anymore.
That's not true.
Old
people still
they try.
Yeah.
But here's what I tell people who say they want to use Beckett. I will absolutely buy everything you have at Beckett prices, at wholesale prices, if you will buy everything I have at retail prices. Beckett cannot keep up with this market. This market changes hourly sometimes.
Yeah, we're day trading here.
Domingo German threw a perfect game. You could buy his first Bowman auto for about $5 to $6 on eBay 2 days ago, and it's going for $250 today.
Well, and that's the reason a lot of old heads prefer Beckett, because they're going to come in and try to leverage and be like, dude, that's just a flash in the pan.
Well,
this is a $5 card. It's printed right here.
Yeah,
right?
you can try to leverage it. The point is that if you're trying to leverage it, you're going to be like a lot of the guys at some of these local shows who have the exact same cards every single month and complain that nobody wants to buy anything. Everybody's looking for a bargain. No, people are trying to buy at what the market is. I don't set the market. I don't control the market. Somebody I was complaining on Facebook yesterday about this, that talking about overpriced things. Well, if you want to talk about overpriced, L.A. De La Cruz autos are $500. Listen,
Don't buy them.
don't buy them. That's the point.
They're underpriced, by the way.
The price is not set by me. It's by the market.
Yeah.
An unnumbered base L.A. De La Cruz Bowman First auto is $500. It's only overpriced if the market says 500 and you're trying to sell it for 900.
Yeah.
Now it's overpriced, which is exactly what you guys are doing with your vintage cards. And you wonder why nobody buys them and everybody's just looking for a deal.
Well,
no,
those are the same guys that whenever they go to sell their house are not using that piece of junk mail, or like, hey, Jimmy called in and said this is worth $150K.
Yeah, right.
But you say, compared to comps in the area, it's worth $350. Let's stick with Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he printed it out and sent it in the mail.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what was the name of the guy?
Clay.
Clay. That's right. Sorry, Clay. I did read that. I do remember this. However, there's nothing wrong with being a nerd and buying Beckett catalogs just to collect them.
No, it's cool.
It's kind of cool to have them.
And Beckett does have an online. The one thing that Beckett is still good for is their online platform does let you catalog your collection if you would like to.
Yeah.
Now, the values that you get from it is going to be their values, so throw that out the window.
Right.
But as far as cataloging goes, it's fine. But nobody that is serious and active in this market is using Beckett to price their stuff.
Yeah. Now on to the apps that he talked about. When you think about catalog, so here's a balance as somebody that's a serial collector. I always have one or two hobbies that I'm really into.
Yeah.
Catalog it up to the point that it's no longer fun, and stop just before that. Because what can happen is you can get very buried in this where it becomes strictly investment and it becomes a chore.
Can you imagine me trying to catalog my entire collection?
Well, if you're a dealer, that doesn't work. If you're doing card shows, no. So, like, I have a pretty substantial record collection. I collect, vinyl records, LPs. I have cataloged that. I do like to know. Now, I didn't grade everyone visually, so anytime I go to sell a record that has a little bit of value, I have to look at it. I have to see, is this VG, VG plus, EX, whatever, near mint minus, all that. It's called like a golden standard. I have to try to have that before I sell it. I don't go into grading all of them in my catalog because I don't want to spend 100 hours on that.
Right.
So that's what I would encourage you with. Don't burn yourself out cataloging it. However, some collectors love that they have this little area of their life that they are completely in control of every detail.
100%.
And if that's you, then knock yourself out and have fun.
Yeah.
I've heard of a few different ones. I don't like the pay-to-play cataloging. Hit me with ads. But
yeah, so Collex is probably the app that I would recommend the most. It's COLLEX. It's a cool app because they're constantly expanding the database, and if it's a modern card that's in any kind of demand at all, you can scan a picture of it, and it'll pull up recent sales from eBay, Golden Auctions, PWCC, kind of cross-platform all of it.
does it pick up variations pretty well?
Yeah.
Like Prism
it does
or
a pretty good
Mojo?
job.
Or okay.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job, and it lets you catalog. If you're not so much trying to catalog and you just want apps for value, Alt is decent. Sports Card Investor.
What about Card Ladder?
Card Ladder's good. I prefer
I've heard
Card
they're
Ladder
really
to.
now they're a little investor heavy, right?
They are. Well, so is
So-
Market Movers. The
Yeah.
one that Sports Card Investor does is called Market Movers, and it's very similar. I just won't give that douche my money.
Now here's the trade-off of not doing that.
Okay.
When Gary and I go to do card shows, so I'm once, maybe twice a monther. Gary's a 3 to 4 weeks out of the month guy. Honestly, to not get laughed at the table, and I had it happen this last week. I had a card out that I had a bigger number on because it had just dropped off that week, and then I started looking through my other prices, Mark, and stuff moves so quick. So
Yeah.
if you catalog, you kind of have an idea where you would price everything if you're going to do a card show. If not, you're going to have to look through your prices, Mark stuff. You're going to have to update that pretty consistently. That will take time. So,
Or do what I do,
oh boy,
which is when I tell anybody that's wanting to do shows, the first time you're getting your stuff ready is the hardest because you're literally from scratch and you're probably going to price 3,000 to 5,000 cards.
Yeah, you're in 100 hours.
Yeah. But once that's done, you're just doing your refills. Now, Jason's heard me say this, and usually when we're set up at shows, he's set up at a table next to me, so it's almost ad nauseum.
We hold hands.
And he hears me say it 100 times throughout a day when people are digging through my Prices Marked box.
If you see anything in there that doesn't look like the right price, it's probably not.
Yeah,
It's
just
been a
tell
month
me.
since. But let me know where you're at with it, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, exactly. So just communicate with people. I always tell people, I'm here to sell cards. I'm not here to show and tell. If a price looks wrong, tell me. If it's to your benefit, congratulations. And I honor that.
What was the one you had, the Stidham we talked about? That was
to
worth
15.
like $90 that week. And
it was like $150 that week, and it was in my box for 15.
whoops.
Well, I mean, but again, I'm a big believer that you should be honorable in what you do and be honest and trustworthy. And I've gained a lot of customers that way because people find stuff in my boxes and they'll look at me and go, is this the right price? No. And if you don't buy it for that price, I will change the price. But if you want it, I'll honor that price. That's my fault. You don't pay for my mistakes. Just like I won't pay for your mistakes.
Yeah.
So, if you're trying to catalog your collection, there's also nothing wrong with, if you really want to take the time to do it, pull up Google Docs and set up a spreadsheet and type it in and use 130point.com.
Well, and sometimes you just do it for your inventory. It doesn't have to be just pricing.
Yeah.
I love the dudes that walk around with a steno notebook. That's still so
Guys are building
80s and
sets.
90s. But I'll tell you what, these guys are on top of modern too.
Oh, yeah.
And they learn by force. That's a great way to learn cataloging, is building a set out. Take tops and do series 1 and 2 and update.
Yeah.
And work your way through all of it. And you're going to end up with one of the cards that everybody's chasing.
Yeah. Well, and if you're trying to figure out what your niche is, right? Like one of the things that Jason's gotten really heavy into lately, to the point where he kind of knows what he's looking for and can see a good price when he sees it, is 90s basketball inserts. Like he does a lot with that stuff. That's not my world, but he knows that stuff inside and out. For me, it's Bowman. When I see a good price on Bowman, I don't have to look it up.
And when you find somebody that likes it, they're buying 30 of them, not
and I'm
one.
ready to go. So learn your niche. But as far as, apps go, Collex, Card Ladder, avoid market movers. It's a heavy subscription fee, and that guy's a douchebag. And
how do you feel about it?
he's a douchebag. There's if you want to have some fun, somebody actually did a song. If you go to Apple Music, it's called "You Ruined the Hobby I Love," and it's a song about sports card investor Jeff Wilson. It's a rap song, and it's awesome.
Could also be about Ken Golden.
It could be. He's a big douche too.
If you have video editing skills and you can make me a mashup of Ken Golden's laugh from that Netflix series, we will feature you
Oh, absolutely.
on the podcast and interview you
Absolutely.
for exclusive rights to post that.
Oh,
on
for sure.
socials. I think that's a fair trade.
I agree.
I want this montage to play on loop, and I want to create a video playlist where it runs 24 hours on YouTube.
I want to do it because one of the things Jason and I have been talking about, Sydney actually asked us earlier, because we've kicked around the idea of actually taking the podcast dual platform and continuing to do it as a podcast,
Dual
but also having it as a YouTube show. Two things holding us back. One, we are great idea people. We are neither one great execution people.
I'm offended.
Two, we're not attractive people. So
You're not.
Neither are you.
You serious, bro?
Yeah, oh yeah. Figuring out how to make that functional. But it would be great to have that montage to, like, anytime we needed to make fun of something, just to have it.
His laugh hurts.
It would be good.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I think we've covered it all. We've bashed Ken Golden. We've talked about Sports Card Investors platform that sucks.
Well, the platform's good. He sucks.
Oh, he sucks. Who else would we say is bad? The idiots on Facebook, the idiots in card shops. You're being a Serbian. I cussed a lot. You cussed a couple times. I think this is a wrap.
I think you're going to get a text from your mom. Why do you say those words?
Of course you'll listen
on the
to this
podcast.
one. Honey, I didn't teach you those words. This has been the Ball Card Show, the Sports Podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.